I think like one approach is to address obstacles and hindrances in our thinking and feeling, and then the other is to cultivate the requisite virtues. A couple of obstacles or hindrances that I see are one, politicization. To think of ecclesial life after the manner of political life as just a kind of push and pull, like a dialectic, as it were. When truth be told, we're operating in a different space. Um, so when we find ourselves thinking in terms of us versus them, we have to recharacterize it as a kind of us versus the evil one who tries to pit us against each other. Um, so I think that there are there's a certain tendency just to think about it as wholly political, where there's, I mean, in truth of fact, an agency at work in these processes, which goes well beyond the political and conducts us unto the highest of goods, the most ultimate of goods, namely God Himself, and that God has promised, to bring us hence. The second thing is to avoid a kind of presentism. I think that we're living our lives and we're interpreting our lives, and sometimes it takes us a bit to catch up with the interpretation, if that makes sense. We're not going to be able to interpret them well simultaneous with our living them well. And yeah, you need like a little bit of perspective, and you might need the passage of time to situate a particular period in the church's life within the overall or universal sweep. So we don't really know what the Lord is doing because we don't have that perspective until such time as we've lived through, because the agency at work again is of a higher sort, and it has access to all of the causes, God that is. So He orders all things strongly and sweetly unto the praise of His glory and to the salvation of His people. Now, do bad people do bad things? Sure, undoubtedly. But God can make even that work to His ends. What departs from Him by transgression returns to Him by punishment or by mercy. So I'd say like avoiding obstacles or hindrances, just be wary of politicization and then be wary of presentism. And then as to cultivating virtues, I think it's like, we're responsible for contributing to the ecclesial good as befits our state and specifically within our zone of competence. So for a lot of us, that's a very limited exercise. Like you might educate your children, you might educate those who pertain to your pastoral care in one way, shape, or form. But like most of us are in meaningful contact with a handful of people. And yeah, we can talk to that handful of people in a responsible fashion, educate our agency, cognizant of the fact that a lot of these decisions, well, they take place in settings at a great distance from us.